Hello, everybody. My name is Jason Musser. You might also know me instead of that by my stage name or band name, Backdoor Frontman. I'm making these videos to raise awareness of my artistic masterpieces that a lot of people seem like they're missing out on. And mostly they're often very timely and topical, or sometimes ahead of their time, which is probably why they've not gained mass popularity. Because I put them out and it's too soon, and society and the general music consuming public hasn't got hip to what I'm talking about, and so they don't get it. And then by the time the thing is topical and relevant and in the news and such like, then by then I forgot that I did the thing and I forget to tell people about it. But anyway, so I'm going to make these videos, and I'm partly inspired to be making these videos because during the quarantine started. Um, all the people going out in public and playing had to kind of stop doing that. And I didn't do that much. I used to, for a while, I would play the upright bass and the electric bass with some bands um, around the Chicago area, but they just devolved into like cover bands. And I thought I'd maybe like network with a lot of people, but then all that really happened was people just kept calling me up to play the upright bass for them at bars and stuff, and so that didn't work out too good. But I got some experience. But anyway, so I wasn't playing out in that much, and it's a lot of work in general. And I got like a regular job and stuff, and so it's kind of exhausting to do all that stuff at the same time. And then you end up just doing a bunch of songs that you already have, and you don't have energy for making up new songs, which is like the really important thing. So I would do it in like the sort of Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys, who was the bass player for the Beach Boys, but also the mastermind. And he taught all the guys how to sing and sing the fancy harmonies because he was like a big fan of the Four Freshmen. I got a good record by them around here somewhere. Maybe I'll run off and get it in a little bit. But yeah, they were kind of amazing. But anyway, so I was also not a good singer, so then I didn't do a lot of songs um, out in public or get to be like the front man for anybody. But eventually, one time, I wrote this song that was called Backdoor Frontman, and then I made an album. It was like arguably my third album, and it was like attributed to me as Jason Musser. I got this logo done by this guy called Tom Kelly in Chicago. He's a real nice guy, a real good artist. Um, but anyway, so I was putting these albums out, and this was the third one, and I called it Backdoor Frontman as the title. Here's the back of it. It's got a bunch of other good songs on it. I don't remember what's on it, but um, I made this album and I put it out under my name because that's what I've been doing, and I was like accumulating a lot of accomplishments that you'd find under my name on the iTunes and YouTube, I guess, coming from CD Baby, and where else? The Spotify, Pandora, but right after I did that, this Backdoor Frontman is kind of a song. Like if you know the Doors song Backdoor Man, somebody else did that. I mean, a lot of people did that song, but it was like blues song by Willie Dixon. And so this is a joke. This Backdoor Frontman. Um, I don't maybe should not over explain it, but anyway, so the Backdoor Frontman would be like maybe frontman you have when you don't go out in public, but you only have in the privacy of your own house, and you're so embarrassed by him that he comes in the back door, I think. So I had that Backdoor Frontman song, and I was like, you know what? That's what I'm just going to call my album. It sounds kind of weird, but at least it's sort of memorable, maybe, even if you don't understand the joke behind it. But Then, after I had come up with that, I'm faced with the dilemma. Do I somehow go back and rebrand my entire back catalog as Backdoor Frontman? Well, it's already out there under my name, which is Jason Musser. And that's, I don't know how to do that. So I was just like, you know what? I'll just switch. And also, my production prowess has improved a lot, as well as my musicianship, um, but mostly my production editing prowess. So I'm like, maybe this is be like a clean break. If people who would be inclined to be my fans but might stumble into my older, more lo-fi material that's under my name that I've been putting out for so long, then even though there's some great songs back there, maybe it'd be better to have this new, fresh, hot, fancy sounding produced material that I'm doing nowadays out as the only thing people can find. So then I made this other album, and it was entitled this, Push the Jelly Button. And I was like, I'm going to call it by the artist Backdoor Frontman, hence the reinvention of myself as the artist Backdoor Frontman. And it also works in case I have a band. Then it could be Backdoor Frontman, but it'd also be like the Beach Boys and Jethro Tull and a lot of those bands where it's really it's a band for the purpose of maybe recording the records and also for doing shows, but honestly, it's one creative genius behind it who's the brains of it all and also the front man. Anyway, so I made this album, and if you search it up, if you want to like buy it or whatever, you can buy it someplace online. I put it someplace, I don't remember where, but you could buy a copy of this, and I guess then I got to go to the mailbox, no, the post office, and stick it in there. I mailed a few of these out. Some people bought them when I first made it last year and got it made up on these CDs. Got a whole bunch of them. I don't have like 10,000, but I got more than these two. But yeah, you could buy that junk off of someplace. So that I'd appreciate your support, even though it means then I got to go to the post office and put a thing in an envelope and junk like that. Anyway, so I made this album, and it's like arguably, or not arguably, maybe the first release officially, if you interpret the digital distribution network on the earth in this year, which is 2020, as official. Anyway, this is the first official release attributed to Backdoor Frontman. And it's got a ton of great songs on it. But here's the back. The back looked really nice too. I don't know if there's light's coming in the window, which I don't really care for. But here's the back of it. Make it bigger. Now I can't see the camera, so I can't see what it looks like, but hopefully it's legible and junk like that. But it looked like I'm kind of was thinking of like a Raspberries album when I did the back cover, because I like the Raspberries band. But anyway, here's the first thing that's from, and include the song Backdoor Frontman. So you got to do like a lot of legwork and so forth to get the actual song. But that happens a lot probably, I guess. I remember the Doors had the album Waiting for the Sun, and then later on that was like their third album, but the first one I bought on a record when I was a kid. It wasn't the first record I bought, but and the song's not on the album. And then there's a later album, and suddenly has the Waiting for the Sun song on it. I'm like, what? In this case, though, the Backdoor Frontman song is not on a later album, but is on a previous album. So it's kind of like switcheroo on the old paradigm. And also Physical Graffiti, the Led Zeppelin song. Is that the one? No. Houses of the Holy, the Led Zeppelin album, I think doesn't have Houses of the Holy on it, but then Houses of the Holy is on Physical Graffiti, which came later. Again, similar to some band comes up with that song and they think it's gonna be their title track, and then they don't put it on there. and they put on a different album, and it could be confusing, I guess. Maybe it doesn't matter now because you just search everything up and you don't care what album is on. Anyway, I liked albums, but so I've been making all these albums and putting them out whichever way. I think I started on like mp3.com back in probably like 1947 when I was putting out my first album entitled Star Witness by Jason Musser and the Limitations of the Source Tape. There's another antiquarian joke that maybe is best left to historians. But anyway, so I started doing I don't know, there's this album. You can get this album or you listen to it on Spotify. That's the best place. If you're a rich person, you got a Spotify paid account, and you can listen to it, everything you want to. Go to Backdoor Frontman as the artist, and then you can get this album and listen to it to your heart's desire. Or it's also good if you're just maybe you want to irritate people, and you just put it on in your house real loud, and then if you leave, like you gotta go to the Walmart or something, just let it go. Or if you're gonna go to sleep, maybe put it on and just let it play, because I still get the 0.3 cents per play or something, and so that'd be appreciated income revenue stream. But I got another. I got to remember to mention my latest release that's also out there, which is entitled Class Traitor, and it's a 4-song, 4-track EP with the song called Class Traitor and some other stuff. But and then I got to tell you about some new in progress stuff that I'm working on. It's very timely and topical and destined to be super popular and contribute to the national conversation about whatever. But so they had this quarantine, and I loved it because I didn't ever really want to go out any place, and going out places just took away from time I could spend around in my luxurious home studio, even though it's 1,000 degrees in here now because there's not air conditioning. But I liked it because I didn't have to go any place anymore, and we got to work from home all the time, which was good. But so then I could go from work computer to the other room to the music computer and work on stuff. But then some of the people who used to actually go out and generate revenue from being in public and playing stuff and getting paid for it, they were like, what can I do, apparently, to still connect to my fans and maybe eventually somehow turn this into some money, but do some stuff. And anyway, this one dude, I never heard of him, but this dude called Julian Jumpin Perez was apparently like a Chicago house music DJ in the olden times, like the 1990s. Oh yeah, this is back to the 90s. What does this one say? This also is back to the 90s too. This one has got explicit lyrics on it. And yeah. So I don't know what you want to do with that, but this guy seemed like a super nice guy, even though I never heard of him before, but my girlfriend had heard of him. And he started doing like once a week on Saturday night live show where he was doing the same thing that DJs do live, but he was doing it at his house, and then he was live streaming it on the Facebook Live. And even though I didn't really know any of the music, mostly I'd just be there while my girlfriend was watching it, but I would just be like listening for when there's a sample from like a Kraftwerk song. There seemed like there was some from the Home Computer album. Trans Europe Express was on some Africa Bambaataa song I think he played. I was Shazamming the songs on my phone to see what the songs were in case I wanted to check them out later. But anyway, so this dude was doing this like hour-long or so thing every Saturday night, and it was kind of fun to watch on the Facebook Live. We did this complicated thing where we're like pushing it to the Apple TV that I got a long time ago that still seems to work. And so you could see it on the TV, and it was really nice because you could watch the comments and people just type and junk the whole thing. And it was like this lovely little sort of positive community thing where everybody's participating in a thing but remotely. and you could chat a little bit, but you could just see people saying some stuff. And I hope this is recording. But we watched those like every Saturday for a little while. And then they started doing junk like where you send a video of yourself in dancing, and I did one of those, and they put me on the screen. And I think I was wearing a Santa Claus mask then. And I had these cool shoes around. But anyway, they put that on the screen, and that was pretty good. And they were supposed to like vote for the best one, and I think I lost because there was like a cute child who kind of swept in there and got a lot of the votes and stuff. But it was nice because then this girl messaged me through Facebook who's like works for Julian Jumpin Perez, or who knows, maybe it's his daughter or something. She just lived in the same house as him. She was like, hey, so we wanted to send you a prize. What's your address? And I told her the address, and I was like, I don't know so much need like the toilet paper prize, but I am looking forward to, I think you were going to send these CDs. And it was good because they didn't bother sending the hand sanitizer or the toilet paper, which I didn't really need. They just sent the CDs, so it was good they didn't waste money shipping stuff from Chicago out here. Anyway, so this guy was making these videos, and it was nice, and it's like, apparently you gotta sort of be in people's faces occasionally to remind them you exist, and then some of them would maybe like that appearance of you enough. Some of them will become so intrigued and excited by you that they will go and like search up anything else you did. And then I was like, maybe that's what I should do. And then people, maybe they'll enjoy these videos of me. And then they will go off and search up my masterpieces of songwriting and production and so forth. So that's why I'm here, and I hope that you do all of that. But there's another guy, Julian Jumpin Perez. He was doing house music, Chicago house music sets on the Facebook Live every Saturday night. And then there's this other guy. This dude named Clownvis Presley, and he he then started doing a show from his basement or whatever every night at like 9 p.m. on the Facebook Live. And then so I know some people that started watching that, and we saw Clownvis Presley at, it was at the House of Blues, which is a venue that I don't really care for in Chicago. But anyway, so we went and we were there mostly to see Sabbath, so they're kind of interesting. And they got like a clown is the front man, and it's like a vegan version of the McDonald's Playland characters, and they wear the costumes, and he dresses up kind of like Ronald McDonald, but he has some different name. And then there's like the Hamburglar, I think, plays the drums, and Grimace maybe plays the bass, and then Mayor McCheese, he plays the guitar, or else it's the other way around. But yeah, they do all these shows. They got it's a fun show, and they are Max Sabbath on account of they do like covers of Ozzy Osbourne era Black Sabbath songs, except they changed the words to be like about McDonald's land stuff and veganism and stuff. But yeah, we went to see Max Sabbath one time, and opening for them one time was Clownvis Presley, who is just a clown by himself, who sort of does a Elvis impersonation, but as if Elvis were a clown. Anyway, so Clownvis Presley does this, was it Rescue by Clownvis? I don't know what it's called, but it's something like Clownvis saves the day or something, saving you from the quarantine. Anyway, so he does that every night at 9 o'clock on the Facebook Live, and a lot of people to watch that, and it's the same kind of thing where everybody like watches it and they type some junk, and he does like he makes money by like if you send him like $5 through the Venmo or the PayPal or whatever, then he'll do like a shout out and say, "Hi, this song is." I sent him some money one time and said, "Hey man, I'll send you this money. Do a shout out to myself, but myself is don't say my name. Just say it's Backdoor Frontman. Do you if you like Clownvis Presley's music and what he does, maybe you also like Backdoor Frontman, because I know one person who likes both Backdoor Frontman and Clownvis, so that was my thinking there. Anyway, so he does that and it's nice, and everybody, some people like big fans of it. But anyway, so he's like supporting himself now, not by doing shows, even though he used to go around and do shows. I saw him also open in Lombard at the Brower House near Chicago for like a weirdly non-crazy band called the Blasters, who were, even though they don't have any like funny gimmicks or anything, they've been around a long time, and they're like kind of just good because they're good American rock and roll musicians and stuff. But anyway, so I saw him there one time too, but he used to go around and do shows, and so I saw him two times, and I saw Max Sabbath several times. I forget how many. One time they had a band where the guitar player was Darth Vader, and then everybody else was stormtroopers, and then some of those red guys that you see sometime in like maybe Return of the Jedi and whatever. Anyway, they just played Star Wars music, and that was okay. But so the Clownvis Presley now sits in his basement. Every night he has to get dressed up in his clown suit and his makeup and his hair and stuff. I'm not sure if that's his real hair, but he does these shows, and it brings some joy to some people and whatever. And then he sells these tchotchkes. So then that's how come he's able to like pay the rent and whatever. And so the tchotchkes include like T-shirts and stuff like that. So I guess he got some songs he recorded. You could probably listen to those and buy some records and junk. He might have a coloring book too. I think Max Sabbath has a coloring book you could buy. I don't have a coloring book yet, but I got a lot of songs you should listen to. But I got also this suitcase of merchandise that I took to a show that I did where I hired some friends to be my band. And one year I did it for these film dudes who were trying to make money for a film, and somehow they were doing a fundraiser and they needed entertainers, and they thought somehow that having me be a performer there was going to help them raise money to make this horror movie they're making. And anyway, so then the next year they did it again because they still didn't make enough. Oh, shoot, I got this upside down. They still didn't make enough money. But the next year, instead of doing it just by myself with the electric guitar, that yellow electric guitar over there, oh, wait, no, I started on that, but then I immediately broke a string and I had to switch to this red guitar I brought as a backup. But the second year, when they graciously asked me to do it again, I had this new CD of material on it entitled Push the Jelly Button. And I'm like, oh boy, now I'm going to really rake in the dough, and I'm going to make a lot of fans, and I'm going to hire a band and do these songs up pretty much right. And so I hired a band, some great musicians that I knew, and there was 3 of them and 1 of me, and that we had some rehearsals and junk, and they had to learn my songs, and that's why I paid them, because sometimes you can get people to play songs they want to play for free, but if you're going to force them all to play songs you wrote yourself, they probably don't want to do that. And so it's kind of nice to pay them to do that. But I got this suitcase that I had, and I put a Backdoor Frontman sticker on it. You can buy a Backdoor Frontman sticker for sure. Those are good to put on whatever you want. I would take them if I would go out to a show. I would stick them on a thing like in the bathroom sometimes. Or you could stick them on a toll plaza or your laptop. I got some of those, and they're in this bag here. They come right out of this bag if you want to order some of those. They're real nice. So I got some of those, and I got these CDs. Look how many of these CDs I got. I got this whole bunch of CDs right here. Woo! This all push the jelly button. And then I got all these other CDs that I had in the past and did not. Some inventory I had stored up. I had not liquidated. So here's another good CD I made. This is my second release. It's called Fish Fry Bloodbath, as you can probably see. And there's a song called Fish Fry Bloodbath about a guy who goes on a workplace shooting spree. And I wrote this super long time ago, so long ago that back then when you thought of a shooting spree, you thought of the post office. And they talk about people going postal because it usually only happened there. But then I like extrapolated that idea to like, what if he worked at, well, he works at a different place. It's like a slaughterhouse or something in Chicago on account of the history of the Chicago meat packing industry, formerly based in Chicago. But he doesn't do well, I guess he does do some shooting there. It's hard to remember what I put in all the songs, so it's nice that I got him so I can go listen to him again. Anyway, so he goes to shooting. It goes to a fish fry that they sometimes have every Friday night, but he couldn't normally go to because he worked, and then he goes, and that's where he does most of his shooting spree. Anyway, so this is like 5 songs. There's Fish Fry Bloodbath, which is the title track. My friend Sean Freed played the guitar on it and did a great job. And he's the only other person I've let be on any of my recordings. So there's I don't know if that's a selling point or what. Yeah. Anyway, so he's playing the guitar. I can't take credit for that. He has been a long time, very supportive friend and fan. But then also I put on some other junk to fill this out. I put on this song called Love Leech, which I haven't heard in like probably since I put the CD together. I just recorded it myself with guitar and whatever in the basement of this house one time. It's like about how if you're in a relationship, maybe then you're competing sometime in the relationship for affection with, like, for example, say a pet maybe that your girlfriend has, or if you have like a baby or something. Sometimes anyway, that's what the Love Leech is. And I can't remember how that song sounds, so I don't know if I could recommend that highly or not, but probably check it out. Maybe you might like it. Then there's this rap song on here called Left is Right and Right is Wrong. And then a ragtime song with me playing the banjo. That's called Robot Rag. And then the Christmas Grab Bag song is a mean-spirited holiday song that I wrote about a thing I hated to always have to do, which is do the Christmas grab bag with the extended family. But that was a video of that where I did that a long time ago with a bunch of chroma keys. So there's like 4 or 5 of me playing all the instruments. That's pretty quality entertainment, except the quality is not good because the laptop back then couldn't handle doing all those layers of chroma key and stuff at high resolution. Although I do have like all the original files. So someday I'm going to do like a 50th anniversary remaster 4K HD edition where we take that and then cut it together and re-edit it on a better laptop. But it's a pretty clever song. But yeah, I was talking to a dude from work today, and we were talking about rap because probably you saw a lot of those memes about the police and the police now, kind of in the spotlight for murdering people and shooting people in the face with rubber bullets, which are, I think that maybe the important thing there is to focus on is the bullet part rather than the rubber part, because they're not fun, like rubber implies. And I don't think they like bounce that good. But so there's this meme, right? And it says, if the police did nothing wrong, people wouldn't hate them. After all, nobody ever wrote a song called Fuck the Fire Department. And then I got one version of that meme, and of course it has NWA with Ice Cube and Eazy-E, MC Ren, Dr. Dre, and Yellow Boy, who I don't know what he did exactly, but maybe he played the drums, but I thought they used a drum. I don't know what he did, but I'm sure he's a nice guy. But anyway, so they had that song Fuck the Police from 1988 on Straight Outta Compton. I got that CD around here somewhere. But I kept seeing that meme, and of course, the first time I saw that meme, and no one ever wrote a song called "Fuck the Fire Department." I'm like, oh shit, I got to write a song called "Fuck the Fire Department." But then I'm like, that's too predictable and lowbrow and stuff, so I'm gonna resist it. But then I kept seeing it. I didn't see it for a while. Then I started seeing it again. It's like, oh damn, okay, I'm gonna write this song. So I got that in progress, and actually coming along pretty good. But you can't hear it. But that got me thinking about rap again. So I'm listening to Straight Outta Compton album and the first Ice Cube album, America's Most Wanted. Both those albums I used to like a whole lot when they came out. And then like the stuff after Ice Cube left after Straight Outta Compton that came out, 100 Miles and Running, is so bad. Actually, the first song not that bad, and you could hear like Dre growing as a producer. The production is nicer. It's okay. Then the second song is just terrible. I don't even want to name it because it's like so embarrassing. But you see that guys left over in NWA out in Compton, they're like stretching for ideas and to have some sort of unique personality. However, Ice Cube went to the East Coast and he was like hanging out with the Public Enemy guys, and then making his own first solo album, America's Most Wanted. Which is very topical and relevant to all the stuff going on today in the world, where people are like, sometimes the police, like some of them probably are like super nice and do, heroic things and stuff, but some of them are not that cool, and maybe shouldn't be in a position of power and authority and stuff like that. So anyways, so that got me listening to Fuck the Police again and stuff like that. And then after a couple of weeks, I saw that Fuck the Fire Department joke meme again, and I was like, all right, I'm going to do it. And I think I was washing the dishes, and then I came up with that approach to it that was a little less predictable. And then furiously wrote up some lyrics and then came upstairs and put them down over like a synth-based beat. But then a few days later, I worked it up a lot more, and so it's coming along good. So hopefully you could check this out pretty soon. Maybe I'll give you a sneak peek or whatever. I think I put a sneak peek on my Backdoor Frontman Facebook page, so check that out. And give me your feedback, though I don't know if I'll listen to it or read it. But the reason I mention that is on account of this Left is Right and Right is Wrong song. I was talking to a guy today, and I was like, I made this rap song a while ago, Left is Right, Right is Wrong, and it is a response to my friend, these are all mixed up. My friend Billy Starfire, he's had this name that he came up with it for himself, Billy Starfire, since high school. And Billy Starfire and the Orbit Boys. And the Orbit Boys was technically me and our friend the Abominable Funky Man. And then this Toward the Evil Robot. But so this is like his second album, and I think first album had one, it was all songs by Billy Starfire, and then there was one co-write with me, but he did all the recording, I think. This album, he came up with a bunch of songs, and I came up with the title track, which is a joke based on like Gary Newman and the albums he was putting out in like 97 or 96 or whatever. After he sort of bottomed out before that, just trying to make stuff he thought would be popular, and then gave up on that and was like, I'm just going to make stuff that I like. And then suddenly he was back, and it was good. But anyway, so I made this song Androgynaut that's supposed to be kind of like a spoof on Gary Newman songs. And maybe if you like Gary Newman, then maybe you'll like that song. Or maybe it's not even necessary to like or understand Gary Newman to get the same amount of enjoyment, whatever that amount of enjoyment is, out of listening to that song. But I made that song, and I thought that'd be a good song for Billy Starfire and the Orbit Boys. And so I was like, hey, let's put all these songs together, and we'll call the album Androgynaut, and we'll use my song that I wrote and recorded myself, although Billy Starfire did happen to come up here for a visit, uncharacteristic visit way up here from wherever he lived then. And he helped me fix some of the drum beats that I was trying to loop behind it and couldn't get worked out that good. But anyway, so he fixed that. Then he and Funky Man went to bed, and then I recorded the rest of it and stuff. But it's got a guitar with the wah-wah on it and stuff. Pretty good. But one of the masterpieces of Billy Starfire that's on here is, there's one, okay, first track is School Tax. It's not really a rap song, but it's him ranting about the school tax and school taxes being exorbitant and being wasted on things. It's a good song. I put a little guitar on it when they were up here. But then the second song is entitled Bill of Rights, and it's kind of a rap masterpiece, except the siren sounds are annoying that happen in it. But it's like, good rap song. Usually you're like ranting about something that's bad. And so in his case, he's ranting about left-handed people. So it's real funny. I can't remember any of the lines, so I just listened to it earlier today, but it's pretty good. So he wrote this anti-left-handed person song. And then for some reason, I decided I would write like the left-handed rebuttal to his song, even though I'm not left-handed, but the Abominable Funky Man is left-handed. So I wrote this empowering anti-right-handed song entitled Left is Right and Right is Wrong. And I think that I got a couple of lines each from Billy Starfire and the Funky Man. So I think that sort of technically shows up as a co-write with all of us on it, but except I'm the one doing all the music and all of the rapping with the good flow and stuff that I got going on there. I think I had like strep throat or something when I did it, so my voice sounds really cool. But so modern events, we're quarantined. Police are kind of going crazy and escalating protests into riots and almost massacres. That got me thinking about, the quarantine got me thinking about doing some videos to help bring some joy to people's lives and raise awareness of my artistic genius. That's one thing. The other thing is I kept seeing that fuck the fire department meme, so I started working on that. That got me thinking about previous rap masterpieces that me and Billy Starfire did. And that's how we got here. So also I did a song one time off of the Jason Musser album. It's hard to tell these apart sometimes because they look pretty similar. But off of this Jason Musser Backdoor Frontman album, there's one song on here. It's called Kill, Kill, Kill. And I can't see that at all. So it's called Kill, Kill, Kill. And that was written, I want to just go on record here and say I'm not advocating killing everybody, even though that's exactly what I say to do in that song. That's probably about the best explanation I can give. So I want to encourage you to check out that song and not do what it says on account of it was mostly a joke. So especially don't do what it says in the last part where I sort of turn mocking, like start making fun of or satirizing sort of small-minded provincial rednecks who never really left their state and are afraid of foreign people. And that's definitely not what I mean, but I was like, after the first half of the song, which was supposed to be about the character in the zombie movie who doesn't understand what kind of movie they're in yet, and then is like super normal, and you're always yelling at them when you're watching the movie because you're like, you dummy, don't go out there, don't go up to that guy and talk to him, he probably going to bite you. Anyway, so that originally started as a song. It starts off with, when civilization is crumbling down, kill, kill, kill. When anarchy is all you found, kill, kill, kill. You craft a masterpiece of legislation, I'll rely on bullet penetration. You got to kill, kill, kill if you want to survive. Anyway, so it's about, once the zombie apocalypse or whatever apocalypse happens, you got to be a little more cautious when meeting new people, and possibly it becomes more wise to when you meet new people to immediately kill them, because they might be either dangerous zombies who will infect you and you'll die in 18 hours, or they might just be mean people who become marauding and opportunistic and maybe warlord. Anyway, so that song's sort of relevant, but don't do what it says, because later at the end there's a line where I'm like kind of desperate for how to wrap this song up, and I'm like, when encountered by people who don't speak your language, kill, kill, kill. When you encounter a stranger crossing a main bridge, kill, kill, kill. Oh shoot, I don't remember the third line of that. But the last line is, praise the Lord and pass the ammunition. You gotta kill, kill, kill if you want to survive. But yeah, when you get to that, after that third line sets it up, that fourth line is really funny and works out real good. But anyway, that part of that song I really don't agree with, because I travel all over the world, all over, and that's a good thing to do for sure. Because you see a lot of everyday things that are different, and then you see a lot of, like, in small ways that make you wonder why they're the way they are when you're back home in America. And you meet a lot of people, and you're like, oh, these people are just the same as me mostly. They just want to do their thing and stuff, and yeah. So all the anti-foreign stuff into that song was just me trying to desperately wrap up that song some way with some memorable lines. But don't remember those lines and don't act on them, because it became very jingoistic, and I was hoping that people would understand that it was making fun of people who would say things like that at that point in the song. But I don't know if that's the case. I hate for it to be co-opted by bad people who think that everything is the best in America and don't have anything to base that opinion on, and are maybe like brainwashed by the bourgeoisie or I'm not super clear on whether the bourgeoisie is the already rich or if it's the aspiring rich. But yeah, sometimes you get like brainwashed by people who have a lot of money and then will sort of quietly support things to keep things going as they are, which is how come I wrote this more recent song entitled Class Traitor. And maybe I'll show you the cover on my phone, because I never got any CDs of that made up, but I did get it put together. A class traitor, somebody who sort of sells out to the rich people and does things that are actually worse for people like that person really is. And sometimes, a lot of times, that's cops. So if you're a class traitor, you're cops who beat up protesters and hassle actual journalists who give voice to the powerless. That's just one type of class traitor called out in this extremely long-winded but super rocking educational song that I made most recently. So that's the most important one. Then there's a real good instrumental called CT Scan after that I made, where I played the sitar on it, which I had got recently. And it's over here. Make this video more visually striking and stuff, I bring this out, and so you can see this sitar. And that's not what it sounds like on the CT Scan song. It sounds real good. But anyway, so there's that song, and there's a third song, which is, what is it? It's one I tried to make a good studio version of for years but couldn't. But then I was like, hey, maybe people appreciate this original rough-sounding recording. And it's called Let's Try It Again. That was a co-write with me and Billy Starfire, although I don't think he wanted to write it or contribute to it at all. But I forced him to be present when I was writing the words of that. It was supposed to be kind of like the theme song to like Laverne and Shirley, was how I sort of pictured it in my mind. But it's got some good lyrics. But if you like lo-fi recordings, there's a lot of noise and junk like that, maybe you like that song and can appreciate the lyrics. That's track number 3 on the Class Traitor EP. Track number 4. Oh, track number 4 was like, I kept telling everybody I was writing a song called Class Traitor, and they were like, "What's that?" They didn't know what a class traitor was. And I told it to one of my heirs, the younger of the two, and then I realized he didn't understand. And I explained to him what a class traitor was, and then he was like, "Oh, when you first said it, I first thought of like class clown." And I was like, "Oh, I can see that, and I can see why a lot of people might think that too." So I said that might actually be a better song if I wrote a version like that where you have the class clown. But anyway, so then to maybe sort of cover my bases there and make sure nobody stole that joke idea for a song out from under me, then I wrote this 4th track to put on this EP entitled Mrs. Robin's Homeroom Class Traitor. And that actually, although coming from a sort of split second moment of inspiration and obligation and what have you, I worked on that for a couple weeks, and that actually came out pretty good. I don't think anybody ever listens to it, including me, but if you listen to it, it's actually pretty good. And it covers the child in grade school who is a class traitor in a manner similar to like a class clown. But yeah, there's some gold comedy lyrics there that are also insightful and wise, like most of my lyrics. But I want to, on that note, also mention, in addition to seeing things about Fuck the Police, the NWA song recently, sometimes I saw like a funny meme that was Cuck the Police. It was like, while the police are out beating up protesters and so forth, where are the police not? Which was an idea I had. And like, where are they not? Where do they keep all this tear gas at? If they're all out beating up protesters, who's guarding the tear gas? That'd be an interesting thing to find out, and probably maybe figure out something to do with that information. But they're also not at their house, right? So then that made somebody make this Cuck the Police. It's like, the police are out, I'm going to go and like hook up with their wives and so forth. But on this album, this one, in that left is right and right is wrong, there's a line that's almost similar to that same idea. It's like, when you're go out by your house, and when I know that you're gone for the rest of the night, when I get through shaking hands with your wife, then I'll be the one that she calls Mr. Right. So a similar idea to Cuck the Police, where you go and have sex with the police officers' wives consensually while the police officers out beating up protesters. Except in this case, the people that you were cuckolding were right-handed people, and I don't remember if there's ever established what the right-handed people are doing when they're going out and leaving their wives alone. But the reason I said get through shaking hands with your wife, I hate to like expose everything, but that's like a allusion to the movie The Graduate, and I'm sure that dialogue came out of the original Mike Nichols book, because almost all of the brilliant dialogue in the movie with Dustin Hoffman and Anne Bancroft was word for word from the original novel. But anyway, so they talk about shaking hands, and then briefly it becomes like a sort of a double entendre or a metaphor or simile for having sex, because there's sex had in that movie. Anyway, so I don't have a class traitor thing. I'll pull it up on my phone in a minute, except I left my phone downstairs, but I got this other one. Because that's got a pretty good album cover and got 4 songs. Listen to that and then post the song on. I like to post it on a lot of memes where people are like being real supportive of the current president or the police or the establishment. Sometimes instead of getting involved in like a depressing argument with a bunch of ignorant hayseeds who are hapless dupes of the establishment, I like to just sort of zoom in there and then post the Class Traitor song. and then peace out and unfollow the thread, and then they can all listen to it. And I don't know how many of them listen to it because there's like a 1:20 long introduction before you get to the lyrics, and then the lyrics don't get mean for another minute or so. But I encourage you to do that too. Post that all over the place, because any press is good press, even if it's people hate your song, because I still get paid the 0.03 cents per stream or whatever, and then someday I want to use that to buy a thing. I might do like Fiona Apple and donate 2 years of musical songwriting proceeds to some cause, but I don't think that the amounts maybe are not going to be that comparable between me and Fiona Apple. But okay, so if you got the Spotify, that's the best way to listen to junk, because then you can listen to whatever you want to. Let's see, I'm going to go to search up. Here's how you use the Spotify on an old phone. You go to Spotify and you say Backdoor Frontman, and just finding ASMR videos. I did have an idea for an ASMR video. Maybe I'll do that someday. What the heck? Come on, man. I'm going to search up Backdoor Frontman. I can't really see that good right now. Let me put these glasses on. I can't move the page. Anyway, maybe I'll type it again. Ooh. Okay, I'm finding Jason Musser from my recently played artists. What's happening here? Couldn't load the page. What? Somebody must have sabotaged my internet, because I can't load this stuff. Oh, I don't want to have to do any editing on this video, but yeah, Class Traitor has like a pink cover. If you go to like my Facebook Backdoor Frontman page, you'll see it all over there. Go to Spotify, search for Backdoor Frontman as the artist. You can also find my previous 3 albums: Star Witness, Fish Fry Bloodbath, oh yeah, Backdoor Frontman, number 3. And then under the Backdoor Frontman artist, you can find Push the Jelly Button and the Class Traitor. Interesting fact is that Star Witness I wrote during Bill Clinton impeachment, and then there was a bunch of other big trials back then, and I was like, oh, I'm going to write this song called Star Witness. It's just kind of like a, power pop rock song that's like about a girl or whatever, but I'll make it all make sense. But probably there's always going to be significant, big, high-profile trials going on, and they're always going to be talking about the Star Witness. And so maybe someday somebody will Google Star Witness and accidentally get my song, and then that will be my path to fame. So that's why that has a song on it that I wrote called Star Witness, and I called the album Star Witness. Oh yeah, now we're going. I got no relaxing Indian flute playlist. No. Okay, now I'm pulling up Jason Musser. Here we go. It's working real hard. I don't know why the internet is bad. Possibly this is not going to work either. I wonder if I have this on. Oh, damn it. I feel like maybe there was not sufficient preparation done for the filming of this video. I don't know if it shows. Oh, that's settings. Did I ever print that out? Probably I got it on here. Normally in the past I was trying to do these videos like vlogs with my 2 heirs, and we called it hyper realistic sandwiches, and those are pretty funny videos. But I would do a lot of editing where I would drop in relevant comic book covers and album covers and pictures and junk in post-production. I don't want to do any post-production on this now. And it seems like everybody's standards have lowered sufficiently these days to what they will watch that maybe I don't need to do any post-production, and then something like this will be just fine. But okay, I still don't have can't find Class Traitor. Here's the cover of, come on baby, come on. Maybe if I do this like Steve MRE, I'll hold my hands up, it'll focus it better. Well, this is the album cover for Star Witness, but it's kind of washed out. It's really clever. Yep. I'm going to try one more thing to show you that cover of Class Traitor. However, I feel like maybe if you couldn't see the cover of Star Witness when I held it up on this little phone in front of the camera, possibly the cover of Class Traitor will also be similarly washed out and illegible and invisible. Okay, I got some internet here on this phone. Oh, yeah. Now I'd like to take this opportunity to hold up this phone and direct your attention to the Backdoor Frontman website, backdoorfrontman.com. Wow. Anyway, so maybe is the brightness up all the way? Put the brightness up some more. Anyway, so you got this. Here's the Class Traitor album cover. So if you like a t-shirt of that, then let me know. Basically, go to backdoorfrontman.com, and then you could see this classical website that gives you links to all my albums, even if you cannot purchase physical copies yet of Class Traitor, but you can purchase all the physical copies you want of the previous ones, plus also that Billy Starfire album. And I got some Billy Starfire bumper stickers too. That Billy Starfire's brother made the logo, and I turned them into bumper stickers a long time ago. But another thing I want to alert your attention to is this comic book. Which one is? Okay. This comic book is Deterrent Comics featuring Mr. MX. It's like Action Comics featuring Superman, but it's the opposite of action. It's deterrent to action. And it features Mr. MX. It's an anthology comic that has multiple stories, including some joke-style takes on EC Comics horror stories. Mr. MX is the guy who wears a nuclear missile on his back and then forces people to do things by threatening to blow himself up. This is before we had suicide bombers, too, so this kind of goes way back. Kind of before our time again, before somebody's time. But anyway, so that... It's got that. It's got a story I made called Public Domain Man about a guy who has the superpower of being able to become any character who's lapsed into the public domain. I believe I made... See, I made these a long time ago. The reason I'm mentioning this is because I was mentioning having no coloring books for sale yet. But one of my children said that this artwork that I did for Mr. MX version Story 1 that appears... Oh, yeah, there we go. That he said that looked like a coloring book because I hadn't learned how to do shading yet. So if you like coloring books like Max Sabbath has, you might also like to buy a copy of this Deterrent Comics and color it in yourself. Maybe this will show up now. It's happening. I still can't see anything. Now that the video is like 3 hours long, it's going to be a pain in the butt if I try to edit it just to put a cover of Class Traitor in. But anyway, so I got these. You can buy these from someplace I put online. But if you go Backdoor Frontman, presumably it tells you where you can buy them from, and then I mail them out to you. And here's issue number 2. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff I could say about that, but it probably would not enrich either of our lives right now that much. Suffice it to say, though, that my vision was that these comic stories eventually all become like cartoons, kind of like stuff I used to watch in the 70s when I was a little kid, like the Super Friends and Spider-Man and his Amazing Friends and so forth. These sort of Filmation style cartoons that were sort of low budget, and you could always tell when something was going to move because it was different colored slightly than the rest of the background or whatever, or the person. But anyway, so we also liked like book and records. Like when I was a kid, we had these Power Records, comic books plus record, and there'd be like a dude reading the comic book, and maybe some multiple voice actors with sound effects and junk like that, reading the story. And you would look at the comic book, and then it would boop when you had to turn the page. You go boop, and you'd know you had to turn the page. And then me and Billy Starfire always wanted to make a book and record set of those things. And we never did that on account it's still expensive now to get vinyl made. But you can even better experience it on the YouTube, because I turned a lot of those stories after I colored them or got them colored. I chopped them up so they weren't comic book anymore, but they're just stories. And then it's like a super low budget animated color video of a lot of these stories with me doing all the voice acting. So that's pretty good. And I'm available if you want to like hire me to do voice acting or other acting too. I'm real flexible to what kind of crazy stuff I would do. But yeah, I think I'd be probably good as an actor. But I did the voice acting, and that came out pretty good. There's Mr. MX episode 1, episode 2. There's Public Domain Man. There's Spaceman from the Dead #1. There's the American Society of Superheroes, like a corporate superheroes team, which was a real good idea that probably should have been a big hit before like Archer came out. But yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so you could buy these comic books if you want to color them in or whatever, but you could also just go and watch the YouTube videos, because in addition to the only one voice actor and no sound effects except what I can make with my mouth, another aspect of them is that I was able to put in a lot of good music, either music that we had released that I chopped up and used as background music to make things more thrilling and exciting, or unreleased gems that had not been released upon the general public and available to our fan base via digital distribution channels, or available on conventional physical media. Maybe because they were like songs that ended up being kind of a dead end, but for like 20 seconds they sounded pretty good. So sometimes there's some cases there's some music that's only, you can only hear it in those videos. So I think those came out pretty entertaining in the ones where I put in music, which is most of them. So check those out. You could find links to, I think, all of them probably through backdoorfrontman.com. You can also go to deterrentcomics.com if you just want to see all the comic stuff. And go to, like, I got a Backdoor Frontman Facebook page. I got Backdoor Frontman Instagram page. I think I had to spell it. I had to leave out one of the C's in order to make the name short enough to fit in there. I got a Deterrent Comics Instagram page, and I got like a Tumblr somewhere. I don't know what it's, maybe it's Replica. I wouldn't worry about that. But then there's this here YouTube channel. So basically, try it if you like any of this stuff. I hope you like it. But also, if you know somebody else who would like it, or alternately who would be so infuriated by it that they would rant about it publicly, please share links to all this stuff to everybody. And then eventually I could quit my job probably, and then sit around and make junk like this all the time. In my future videos, I plan to do stuff like bring out some more instruments and maybe practice a little bit before the video and show you how to play some of my songs, in case you probably going to get to where you're like, I like that song and I'm a kind of good musician. I want to go to the open mic or what have you and do the song, but I want something really cool and edgy and non-lame, so I want to do a Backdoor Frontman song. And so I'm going to make some videos that are like tutorials for how to play my songs. And then that's also good for if I have to hire the band again and they can't remember how to play some of the songs, then they can just look at these videos. Or if other people then want to be like, hey man, I want to be in your band, and look, I know all your songs because I watched your videos and learned them. Plus you learn a lot of good guitar and piano playing techniques probably from me showing you how to play my songs. So it'd be good educational experience for you all around. And I hope we can have a mutually beneficial relationship as a result of these videos. And good day.